The 4M framework as a systematic model for value-based continuous improvement and collaboration introduction. The world is entering an era where complexity, uncertainty, and rapid disruption are no longer anomalies but daily realities. Organizations, institutions, and individuals increasingly recognize that sustainable growth cannot rely solely on technical solutions or procedural efficiencies. For decades, models such as PDCA, Plan, Do, Check, Act, Kaizen, and Lean have shaped the discourse on continuous improvement. Yet, despite their proven utility, these models remain fundamentally technocratic, primarily focused on process optimization and operational efficiency. What these models often neglect is the human dimension of improvement, values, meaning, collaboration, introspection, and resilience. Continuous improvement is not merely a mechanical loop. It is a dynamic cycle of learning, engagement, struggle, and reflection. It is this need for a more holistic, value-based model that gives rise to the 4M framework, a systematic approach to never-ending improvement, NEI, grounded in cognitive depth, collaborative dialogue, spiritual discipline, and reflective wisdom. Designed as a culturally rooted yet universally relevant conceptual model, the 4M framework, comprised of Mudzakkara, Muziwara, deliberation, Mujahada, and Muhasaba, offers an alternative paradigm that integrates rationality with value orientation, social interaction with personal transformation, and external performance with internal growth. This article presents the conceptual foundations, philosophical grounding, systemic strengths, and practical applications of the 4M framework as a comprehensive model of value-driven continuous improvement and meaningful collaboration. Conceptualization of the 4M framework. The 4M framework consists of 4 interdependent phases that together form a continuous learning and transformation cycle. Each stage contributes a distinct but complementary function in the pursuit of meaningful and sustainable change. 1. Mudzakkara, exchange of knowledge and thought. Mudzakkara represents an open exploration of ideas, knowledge, and experiences. It is not merely brainstorming, nor is it a superficial exchange of opinions. Instead, Mudzakkara emphasizes intellectual humility, shared curiosity, and the sincere pursuit of truth. In the context of NEI, Mudzakkara becomes a foundation of transformation because it builds collective awareness about challenges and opportunities. It encourages multi-perspective thinking, breaking organizational silos. It cultivates a culture of learning before acting, replacing assumptions with shared understanding. It shifts the focus from finding answers quickly to understanding the problem deeply. Unlike traditional efficiency models that begin with planning or target setting, the 4M framework begins with knowledge exploration, recognizing that meaningful change emerges from deep understanding rather than fast execution. 2. Muziwara, deliberation, collective decision-making and collaboration. After knowledge is explored, Muziwara becomes a stage where ideas are synthesized and transformed into collective decisions. This stage positions collaboration not as formality, but as a heart of improvement. Deliberation in the 4M framework emphasizes equality of voice, ensuring every participant contributes meaningfully. Decisions guided not only by technical analysis, but also by shared values. Consensus building is a process, not an outcome imposed by hierarchy. Social sensitivity and moral consideration as part of the decision-making process. In contrast to technocratic models where decisions are often top-down, Muziwara creates ownership and a shared sense of responsibility. When people participate authentically, implementation becomes smoother because the decision reflects collective wisdom rather than managerial instructions. 3. Mujahada, serious effort and self-discipline. Mujahada introduces a dimension of discipline, perseverance, and sincere effort. It is the psychological and spiritual engine of the 4M framework. This stage emphasizes commitment to action, not just intentions. Mental resilience to face obstacles, uncertainty, and setbacks. Work performed with sincerity, purpose, and a sense of meaning. The belief that improvement requires struggle, not just structure. In many contemporary improvement models, implementation fails not because the plan is flawed, but because the human will behind it is weak. Mujahada strengthens the inner capacity to execute decisions with integrity, transforming improvement from a technical exercise into a moral and spiritual journey. For Muhasaba, reflection and self-evaluation. No improvement is meaningful without reflection. Muhasabah represents deep introspection, evaluation, and the search for lessons that enhance the next cycle of improvement. Muhasabah includes reviewing not only results, but also processes and intentions, identifying mistakes with honesty and without defensiveness, extracting wisdom from failures as well as successes, realigning actions with values, purpose, and long-term mission. This stage becomes a foundation for the next Mudzakkara session, creating a learning spiral rather than a linear cycle. Reflection ensures that improvement does not simply repeat activity, but generates deeper insight, maturity, and character formation. Philosophical foundation of the 4M framework. The 4M framework is not a technical method. It is a synthesis of worldview, ethical principles, and human-centered paradigms. Its philosophical foundation can be understood through three domains. 1. Transformational paradigm. Unlike transactional management approaches that focus on efficiency, the 4M framework situates itself in the transformational tradition, which prioritizes personal and collective identity, purpose and meaning, character development, values-based change. The goal of 4M is not merely to improve what people do, but to reshape who they become in the process. Improvement becomes a journey of transformation, not just optimization. 2. Participatory epistemology. Mudzakkara and Muziwara reflect a belief that knowledge is co-created through interaction, dialogue, and shared experiences. In this epistemology, knowledge is relational, not isolated. Learning is social, not individualistic. Truth emerges from conversation, not authority. In this sense, the 4M framework aligns with modern theories of social constructivism, collaborative learning, and community-based decision-making. 3. Spiritual and ethical axiology. Mujahada and Muhasabah introduce a spiritual and ethical dimension rarely found in conventional management models. These elements highlight integrity of intention, sincerity in action, humility in reflection, moral accountability for decisions. This ethical rootedness ensures that improvement is not only effective but also responsible, meaningful, and dignified. Systemic strengths of the 4M framework. The holistic and integrated design of the 4M framework offers several advantages over mainstream NEI models. One-dimensional integration. 4M bridges four essential human and organizational dimensions. Rational Mudzakkara, social Muziwara, emotional, spiritual Mujahada, reflective Muhasabah. This integration creates a more complete model of improvement that acknowledges the complexity of the human experience. 2. Lifelong learning cycle. Unlike PDCA, which often loops within bounded projects, the 4M framework operates as a continuous spiral that grows in depth, expands in insight, strengthens values, enhances collective maturity. Its dynamic nature makes it suitable for personal growth, organizational development, and even societal transformation. 3. Universal and contextual flexibility. The 4M framework can be applied across multiple domains: education, reflective, participatory learning culture, corporate management, values-driven strategy, and employee engagement, community development, collective decision-making rooted in cooperation, personal development, self-discipline, and moral growth. It's culturally rooted, yet universal principles make it adaptable across sectors and generations. Real applications and strategic implications. The 4M framework offers powerful applications for real-world contexts. 1. In education. Facilitates collaborative and reflective learning. Encourages discussions rooted in curiosity and values. Supports character building alongside academic development. Fosters meaningful teacher-student engagement. 4M can transform classrooms into communities of inquiry, dialogue, effort, and reflection. 2. In organizations. Alternative complement to the balanced scorecard. Strengthens psychological ownership of decisions. Builds culture based on sincerity, accountability, and teamwork. Enhances employee engagement through participatory processes. 4M integrates people, values, and strategy into a coherent system of improvement. 3. In communities and social movements. Strengthens trust and mutual cooperation. Enhances capacity for solving shared problems. Promotes ethical leadership and collective spirit. encourages inclusive decision-making. Here, 4M becomes not just a model but a cultural foundation for community well-being. Conclusion: the 4M framework presents a holistic, humanistic, and value-based model of never-ending improvement that goes beyond conventional approaches driven by efficiency alone. By synergizing knowledge exchange, collaborative deliberation, disciplined action, and reflective evaluation, the 4M framework offers a transformative pathway for continuous improvement that is both effective and meaningful. More than a method, it is a culture, a way of thinking, acting, and growing. It invites individuals and organizations to embrace improvement, not as a mechanical cycle, but as a moral and intellectual journey. Future research and empirical studies will be essential to strengthen its theoretical foundation and validate its application across different sectors. Yet even now, the 4M framework stands as an original and valuable contribution from Indonesia to the global discourse on sustainable human and organizational development, one that unites knowledge, values, and collaboration in pursuit of meaningful progress.